In today's video, we are going to review all the titles that were announced for Nintendo Switch 2. Whether they are titles that had previously been released on PlayStation or Xbox and are now announced on the new Nintendo, or they are exclusive titles of the new Nintendo, or they are ports, updates, or whatever. We are going to try to cover absolutely all the releases announced for the new Nintendo Switch 2, at least as of today, which is April 7th. Later on, we will surely have more announcements, more games, more ports, more next-gen updates and stuff like that, and we will have to expand this list. But for now, I'm going to tell you everything we know. Let's start with the heavy exclusives, the strongest part of the console launch, and then we'll move on to perhaps less relevant games. And we'll end with those titles that are important, but don't have a release date by any chance, and we don't know when they're going to come out. Well, get comfortable because we have a lot of video games to talk about because there are about 30 titles. And we start today's video with the title Launch, the flagship title of the new Nintendo Switch 2, which is Mario Kart World. The novelty of this Mario Kart is that the title introduces for the first time in the entire history of the Mario Kart saga the concept of open world. Here you will be able to race on circuits and things like that, such as cups and the typical Mario Kart stuff. But you will also be able to get out of those circuits. To explore the world, look for secrets, challenges, perform tests, activities, and other things. In addition, this Mario Kart introduces for the first time a competitive mode of up to 24 players. Mario Kart Tour will also introduce new game modes, such as the Knockout Tour. A game mode where you run a race where the last one is eliminated every certain amount of time or every checkpoint, eliminating from 24 players until only one remains. We will also have dynamic weather and different circuits and regions of the map inspired by different worlds of Mario and other things. There will be customization of runners, customization of carts, where they will surely be adding content. And even new mechanics, like being able to walk on walls and different modes of transportation, which propose new strategies and new shortcuts in the circuits and in the open world. Surely there are many things to review about this game because it probably has many extra game modes, and activities, updates, and things that we will be expanding as we get to know the title in depth. For now, stick with this. It's the flagship title of Switch 2, it will cost $80 in physical format, it will be released the same day as the console, and it will only be available on Nintendo Switch 2. A month later, on July 17th, we have the second major exclusive of Switch 2 this year, which is the return of a character that hasn't been around for many years. A three-dimensional game, we're talking about Donkey Kong Balance. The last Donkey Kong we had in 3 dimensions was on the Nintendo 64. About 26 years ago. Well, the monkey returns to 3 dimensions and comes back with a proposal very different from the usual. The goal of Bonanza is very simple. Collect a series of gigantic crystal bananas that are hidden all over the map. Some are very visible and it's very clear where they are, and others are really hidden underground. As you gather these bananas and collect them, the story will progress and the game will allow you to access other regions. It's like collecting stars in Mario 64 or a similar game. The curious thing about this game is that the entire setting, which is presented as giant dioramas, is completely destructible. You can dig, destroy, make holes, gaps in the walls, and even tear pieces of the ground to throw them and stuff like that. Just like in Minecraft, you can destroy absolutely the whole world, because here it's going to be the same, all with the aim of discovering hidden treasures, and these bananas I was telling you about. In addition, there will also be hidden challenge levels, pure and hard platforming levels, and different activities within the game to complement the experience. This game is a little cheaper than the previous one, and costs $70 in physical format. Along with the console, and along with Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will also be launched on June 5th in improved versions of Nintendo Switch 2, 2 versions that you can directly buy, already improved for the new console, or if you have the previous games, you can upgrade them, improve them to Nintendo Switch 2. Just like what happened with some games from Play 4 and Play 5, these improved versions include improvements in resolution and also in graphic performance. since they are going to run at 1080 in portable format and at 4000 in the television format with up to 60 frames. Support for high dynamic range, reduced load times, and integration with a new application called Zelda Notes. A phone application that offers you like a kind of interactive global positioning system or something like that. So you can live your adventure in Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom in a different way with a little map with some help notes and stuff like that. The full versions for Switch 2 will be available at $70 for Breath of the Wild and $80 for Tears of the Kingdom. If you already had them before, with a little extra money you will be able to update them. And if you have Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, then the updates to the new generation are free. This title serves as a prequel to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And in theory, this title is set before Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity from 2020. This is Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I don't know how to pronounce it. Which would be of the same genre as Hyrule Warriors. A genre in which you fight against many enemies and defeat them and all that. It's a spin-off of Zelda, and it complements the prequel that was already released for Breath of the Wild. We still don't have a date. When we do, I'll let you know. For now, we know it's only going to be released on Nintendo Switch sometime this year. A Kirby was also announced for this year, in fact a sequel to an old game of the Pink Puffball. This is Air Riders, the sequel to the 2003 Air Rider. They said this title is going to be released in 2025, but they didn't show anything at all, so I can't tell you anything about this game. But they did mention that the director of the video game is going to be Mr. Sakurai, the very creator of Kirby and, well, the director of Super Smash Bros. A person who had retired because he was a bit stressed. I think that was the last thing he said after the last Super Smash. Well, he's back with a Kirby, and that maybe opens the door for him to return. Maybe later on. He lost the stress or something like that. With a Super Smash, which, well, that's good, right? A Super Smash for the Switch too? When we know more about this, Arc Riders, I'll let you know. We also have it for some time in 2025. Without a confirmed release date for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which is going to be launched as a cross-generational game. That is, it's launched for Switch 1 and it's launched for Switch 2. This is perhaps technically the video game that stands out the most on Nintendo Switch 2 for its performance and what was shown to us. For this game, we are going to have two graphic modes, one called Performance Mode, which will give us up to 100, 20 frames in dock mode, and in Portable Mode, and a Quality Mode that offers us up to 4K, 60 frames in dock mode, and 1080 at 60 frames with high dynamic range in Portable Mode with high dynamic range in Portable Mode. Regarding the gameplay, well, we have some new features to comment on. For example, Samus now has psychic powers and can move things with her mind. And use these abilities to solve puzzles, riddles, and all that. And that we will also be able to use the Joy-Con 2, if we play it on Nintendo Switch 2, as a mouse, to play it like that, like a classic shooter. We don't know the price, and we don't have a confirmed date yet. We have another exclusive for Nintendo Switch 2 confirmed, but it's going to come out in 2026. So I'm not going to go too deep, I'm just going to tell you what Duck's Bloods is about. What's new from Software? A game that surprised us all, because nobody expected From Software to announce an exclusive for Nintendo Switch. 2, but it happened. This title allows us to play with up to 7 players in a kind of survival game mode, players versus players, against environment. It's a kind of Souls-like hack and slash multiplayer where all the players participate in a kind of final contest. Macabre or something like that. The presentation trailer showcases an aesthetic highly reminiscent of Bloodborne, generating excitement among many viewers. With Gothic and Victorian influences, but it also incorporates steampunk elements like futuristic trains, armors, and robotic stuff. Well, there's a bit of everything. The magic is that Hidetaka Miyazaki, the very director of Elden Ring, was personally working on this game. We don't know what it's about. We don't know if it's going to be released on other consoles later. We only know that it's coming out next year. We have time to stay informed. We also have information for the Switch 2. We also have a special edition of Super Mario Party Jamboree called Mario Party Jamboree, plus Nintendo 2 edition, plus Jamboree Television. That is a very long name, unnecessarily long. This is Mario Party, previously released, but now featuring a new mode with audience participation. And it allows players to appear in the game through the camera they are going to launch for the Nintendo. In addition to the camera, this Mario Party update takes advantage of features of the Nintendo Switch 2, such as the mouse-like controls and also the microphone that comes built into the console. This edition of the game will include the Game Share function to share the title with other friends who do not have the game. And with those who you do want to play with at a distance if everyone has a Nintendo Switch 2. To know what the Game Share function is about, I recommend you watch this video. I've discussed this topic and commented on it before. I'll leave more information in the description and at the end of this video. That way, I'm not repeating myself all the time. Something similar happens with Kirby and the Forgotten Land as with Mario Party Jamboree. They took the already launched Switch game and added content to it. In this case, a new campaign, completely new with a new story. In addition to certain fixes, game modes, and extra little things that they added to the title. Content. After all, it's Kirby and the Forgotten Land with more content. It's going to be released on the 28th of August. This year's Pokemon game, Pokemon Legends, will have two versions, one for Switch 1 and another for Switch 2. And the differences between these versions are going to be purely graphical. We still lack a date, and we also lack many specifications of this game. The new Pokemon installment introduces a real-time combat system, which allows us trainers and Pokemon to move, adapt simultaneously, strike, and all that. And we have the return of Mega Evolutions. Beyond this, in that it's a giant interconnected world and a few other things, we know little, and even if we did, we won't delve too deep. This year's Pokemon is similar to previous ones with some new features. We'll discuss it closer to the release date. Well, that's the most notable from Nintendo itself. Well, and associates, but let's say the most Nintendo-like games. And what about from softwares? Next, we're going to review, perhaps a bit faster, other titles of lesser weight. Well, actually not of another weight, because for some they will be lesser, for others not. With the release of Switch 2 on June 5th, we're also going to have the release of Street Fighter 6 in the Nintendo Switch 2 version. We don't exactly know if it's going to have crossplay with the other Street Fighters, or what differences there will be with the other Street Fighters from PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. We'll find out more later, but for now, it's worth celebrating that Street Fighter 6 will be released on Switch 2. Another one will be out on June 5th with the launch of Switch 2. It's the latest from Hustle Light Studios' The Split Fiction. Get ready, because this title is going straight to this year's Game of the Year nominations. Remember what I'm telling you? Well, we're gonna have a Nintendo Switch edition coming out with the console, and this edition, just like on console and PC. Will you be able to share it with another player? So, if you buy the game once, you can play it with another person without the other person having to buy it. This title has been announced as a kind of excuse to show off the dual mouse gameplay of the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's called Drag X Drive, and it's a 3 versus 3 online or local of wheelchair basketball, and also with some skateboarding. Why not? Because it has like half pipes on the sides. The title is horrible, and undoubtedly the ugliest thing Nintendo showed in the entire presentation. Sorry, I let a personal comment slip, but I really think it's horrible. I can't understand what need they had to make a completely gray game. Cement color, I'm not discussing the gameplay, which could be enjoyable. With Joy-Con and the whole story? Maybe it's good, but I can't understand why it's gray. Why is everything gray? Why does it look ugly? It doesn't look like a Nintendo game. It looks like a weird indie from Steam that snuck in. Well, there it is. No one is going to buy it. No one is going to play it. We already know that. We have in 2025 the motherfucker Ring coming to Nintendo Switch 2. With the Tiny Shot Edition, which includes the base game, the Shadow of the Earth Expansion 3, and some extra content for our mount. This version will use high dynamic range, 1080 in laptop mode, and supposedly 4000 output when docked. I still want to see that. The number of frames is unknown and the controversial detail remains. Is that this game is going to come as a game keycard? That is, the game is not going to come on the cartridge. It's going to be just a key for you to download the game. I don't know about later, but initially this title does not come on the cartridge. It comes with a key, which you can then sell the cartridge if you want, and you sell the key, but you won't have the game. This is confirmed to be true initially. We'll have to see if they release an edition with the whole game inside the cartridge. I'm informing you of this. Another superb game debuts on Nintendo. Cyberpunk 2077 in its Ultimate Edition. an edition that brings you the game and the Phantom Liberty expansion. Altogether, all complete. It will also be available at the Switch 2 launch on June 5th. Hogwarts Legacy will also release on the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th. And even though this title was already on Nintendo, now it supposedly arrives as it should. Since they are going to use the features and power of Nintendo Switch 2 to run the game as it should have run when it was first launched, or should they not have launched it for Switch at all? Well, but that's another topic. The point is that this Hogwarts Legacy, this Switch 2 version, is going to use the Joy-Con movement as a mouse in case you want to play in mouse format to cast your spells. Right now it's only in early access on PC. When Hades 2 officially launches, it will be available on Switch 1 and Switch 2 sometime this year. Nothing to tell you about this game, I really don't have much. We've already discussed Hades 2, it's excellent, and one of the best early access releases last year. If you enjoyed Hades 1, you'll adore this one, as it's an improved version of the same formula. On June 5th, Capcom will release its latest original intellectual property, Kunitsugami, a unique and visually stunning action, hack and slash, and tower defense game, which debuted on Game Pass at the time and is now going to arrive on Switch 2. We also have the latest Civilization, which obviously comes with support for Joy-Con mouse. We'll call it the Joy-Con mouse for now. A great strategy game which I have doubts since I don't know how it will look. On a portable, this game needs a big screen to be played, and maybe in portable mode it becomes a bit annoying. We need to observe their adaptation, but certainly in PC mode. Well, it's going to be a great opportunity for many Nintendo users who like big strategy games to discover one of the best installments of this genre, Hitman 1, Hitman 2, Hitman 3. Everything that was launched for these games, extra missions, and a lot more content in this Hitman collection, which is also going to arrive. On June 5th to Switch 2, launching on Nintendo Switch 2. We are also going to have the Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which is Yakuza 0 with all the content that was launched. More new cinematics, more language in English, that is, the voices and subtitles even in Spanish. For now, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut was announced as a temporary exclusive of Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if it's going to reach more consoles later on, or what the hell. The latest installment of Borderlands, which hasn't come out yet, Borderlands 4, is also going to take place on Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if it will be simultaneous with PC and with PlayStation and Xbox, but it will arrive, and it will also do it. The new installment of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, which are these remakes of Tony Hawk Pro Skater that are coming out right now this year. We also don't know if this title will arrive simultaneously with PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, but we know it will arrive this year. The simultaneous thing with Borderlands 4 and with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, I mention it because of the way these games were presented. It makes you understand or smells like they might be launched in deferred. Do you remember what happened with Hogwarts Legacy, which was first launched on consoles and PC and then on Switch? Well, it seems to be going that way. We don't have it confirmed, it's just my intuition. We also have confirmed, without a date yet, the Reanimal, which is the new title from the creators of Little Namers. The latest eSport Football Club and upcoming versions, along with NBA 2K World Wrestling Entertainment 2K and Madden National Football League, will all have Switch 2 releases. The World Wrestling Entertainment 2000 and Madden National Football League, both with versions for Switch 2, the Enter the Gungeon, the Demon X Machina, Titanic Shion, and the Starseeker Astron Expedition, which is a cooperative from the Astroneer universe. We'll expand on these games later. As the last three, we have three big titles that unfortunately do not have a confirmed date. Their arrival time is uncertain, but it could be this year, next year, or sometime in the future. The first one is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which for the first time deservedly arrives on the Nintendos. How is it going to arrive? How is it going to run? How is it going to look? I'll tell you later. Ubisoft also announced Star Wars Outlaws for the Nintendo Switch 2. We are missing a lot of information, but well, here it is. You know it's going to arrive. If you buy the console and wanted to play this game, you will be able to play it at some point. And finally, we have Hollow Knight Silson, which was also confirmed for the Nintendo Switch 2 at some point. Whenever it deigns to come out, you know, there's kind of a running joke with this game. Like everyone is waiting for Silson, everyone wants it to come out, and it never does, and all that. The fans of Silson, well, there are no fans of Silson because actually no one has played it, but the fans of Silson and the fans of Bloodborne are tiring me out. Sorry. They make a lot of noise. It seems like they were 900 million, and I don't think there are that many. I said it, and I will endure whatever comes. A lot of fuss with the Silson, and I don't know. Let's see their sales later. It's still a Metroidvania, same as before. The first Hollow Knight is ranked as one of the best-selling Metroidvanias of all time. So it's doing well, but anyway, I don't want to go off topic. I just wanted to make that comment and nothing more. A venomous comment remains venomous. These are the confirmed games so far, with 2 coming to Switch as improved versions. And well, I've been telling you everything. This is what we have now. By April 7th, as new games arrive, as new things are announced, I will be commenting on them. Because, as I've told you before, big data news returns to Nintendo. We're going to bring Nintendo back to the channel. I had removed it the last 2 years because I was no longer interested in the same old Nintendo Switch. I was waiting for this one to come out, and now that it has, well, I feel like coming back. So let's comment. Are you happy? Are you cheerful? And if not, well, it's a pity, because we're going to do it anyway. Friends, see you next time. Have fun, and mention me in the comments. What game are you looking forward to playing on Nintendo Switch? What are you waiting for? What are you there for? Like holding on for it to come out? I just want a good Pokemon to come out, nothing more. Not even this year's Z. I just hope the next graphics engine update is released successfully. Nothing more, Nintendo, a good Pokemon to play with the Pokeballs again.